All right, so we just got done watching Sailor Moon S episode
9.
9. Is 9 now?
It
9.
was 9.
This episode, it starts off with Sailor Neptune, aka Haruka. She's She's doing a motorbike race, and she wins against the guys. And the guys were mad that a woman beat them, and they said the woman shouldn't be there. And then they grabbed wrenches, and they're actually about to beat her up with wrenches until they get stopped by, I don't know why they get stopped. They get stopped somehow. Somehow they get stopped. Other people stop them.
Because there's people around.
People are around.
This last one, people aren't around, but nobody's transformed.
These are just normal people trying to beat them up with wrenches.
This is a non-magical.
I
do remember this. I did pay attention.
No, for the first 2 minutes, and then
yeah.
Then the rest of the sailors are all watching the fight, and they're watching the race, and then they leave, and Sailor Moon happens to miss the bus, which is how Sailor Moon's around. Because if she would have gotten the bus, she wouldn't have been able to help them. Then later on, Haruka is offering Sailor Moon a ride back to the town on her motorbike, and then the same people who are going to beat her up with wrenches, they're in a truck, and they're trying to run her over and kill her with a truck. And then they veer off the road and hide, and the guys find them, and then Sailor Uranus, Haruka beats them up and kicks them and is like, I can screw you guys. And then she holds Usagi close, and then Usagi's like, oh, it almost feels like being held by a man. It smells her cologne. Anyway, one of the motorbikes turns into the Freak of the Week. Kalanite is there, and she is actually very active this episode. Unlike the last episode, she was active this one. So that's why the last episode was an outlier, truly. She chained Sailor Neptune and Sailor Uranus and Sailor Moon together because they don't get along in their sailor forms. So they're kind of like she said it's like watching a three-legged race where everyone hates each other. So they're not working well together. And the Freak of the Week,
that's verbatim.
Yeah, it is. The Freak of the Week, it's a motorbike, so it's two of them. It's 2v2, two wheels.
And that's the item as well, right?
Yeah, it's a motorbike.
They touch a motorbike.
So
and the Freak, there's no touching this episode. It's pulled out by the bad guy. You remember that?
No, it touches the motorbike. It's the pure heart that's pulled out.
Oh, but he's lying down
this. They pull the pure heart out of him when the motorbike turns into the tire.
Right, that's right. Yeah, and it's but there's no. This is the one where there's the least evidence that this guy's pure.
This guy didn't seem pure of heart. He seemed kind of like an asshole, and he was also
he's like a motorbike.
Yeah, he was sanctioned pure of heart, so he was a pure of heart.
But he was also they
did not spend any because Sailor Moon can waste time. Sailor Moon can also blast through an episode, and this was an episode they blasted through it. But there was no time given to this guy.
No, he seemed bad the whole time.
An unconvincing pure heart. One of the most unconvincing pure hearts in this episode for sure.
Yeah, Reed, would you actually agree with that?
I was shocked. I thought that when they pulled the pure heart out of him, it would be a plot twist that it wasn't a pure heart.
Well, also,
you said immediately, this guy's not pure.
Yeah,
Well, he was also like, I don't want to lose to a woman. She shouldn't be here. Yeah. He wasn't trying to beat her up with a wrench, but he did say that. So I was shocked that he was seen as pure of heart. I thought that would be a plot twist, being like, oh, it's actually not a pure heart. But anyway, regardless, that's an aside. Sailor Moon and Sailor Uranus. Sailor Uranus really doesn't like Sailor Moon because she's stepping in her way of getting the talisman, and she's like, well, casualties are fine. And Sailor Moon's like, you can't have any casualties.
Dude, they still haven't found a single talisman.
They vaguely explain each other's motivations. One thing I did like about this episode is that Sailor Neptune was right on the money, and she knew that this guy's motorbike would turn into a diamond egg, and she called Sailor Uranus on her Apple Watch and was like, I found it. His motorbike is the egg. So she was on it. She did the first attack. She did the water blast attack.
They have a lot of preeminent technology, right?
We're from a new era.
We didn't bring this up 2 episodes before. No. But Sailor Mercury.
We've talked about this. She's had this since season 1.
She has the DS.
Yeah, she's had that since the beginning. literally season 1, episode 4.
But they actually never they even spent time with that one. But with this, Sailor Uranus has it, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
she has the Apple Watch.
Sailor Neptune has the watch, and Sailor Uranus.
They don't explain to what degree.
I don't think they need to explain because they're from a new era. It's some future tech.
They're from a new era. They're from the era of brilliance and elegance.
So what's the moral of this episode?
There's the moral of this episode is interact with someone who you may dislike, and you can find common ground and a greater understanding. Because Sailor Moon and Uranus were borderline antagonists. They didn't agree on things, and then they're forced. They're chained together.
You're
so
sharp.
Cal-
You're sharp right
He
now.
is sharp.
I'm zoned up. Unlike the last episode, Kalanite you chains them together. She's
taking responsibility.
She does a chain ring. It's called chain ring. Chains their wrists together, and then because of that, they're pulling against each other, going in different directions. They hide in a cave, and they're kind of hiding. And based on this, they're stuck together and have to talk and explain their goals and motivations. And Sailor Uranus has a cut on her shoulder. And Sailor Moon's like healing her cut. She's like, "Oh, what are you doing? Don't heal my cut." She's like, "I have to. I need to help someone who's injured, no matter what." And then Sailor Uranus kind of has like a moment of like, "I can't believe you're helping me." And then Sailor Moon says, "I have an itch on my back, and I just really need to scratch. You have to scratch it." And Sailor Uranus kind of gives in and scratches her back and says, "You're a weird one, but I think I kind of understand you more." And they kind of have a moment and explain that we're not really on the same side because I must achieve my goal by any means necessary. And Sailor Moon's they kind of have an understanding that they're seeing the world differently, but they're working together. And then they come out of the cave and they're working together to Kalanite's surprise because they weren't. And then they work together and actually use the enemy's attack against it and use the enemy's attack to break the chain.
Yeah.
And they end up working together and defeating Tyron is the name of the enemy. They defeat Tyron. She does her heart prism rod heart attack, destroys the tire. And another thing, which is really dumb, it's so dumb that they can't recognize each other, especially Sailor Moon. She's got the most distinctive hairstyle. However, Sailor Moon begins to perhaps wonder if Sailor Uranus is actually Haruka because she is nuzzled up into her chest and is like, the smell of her cologne reminds me of the cologne of the other character who's female who looks like a guy. So it's really dumb that the clone is the giveaway.
This is the thing in my notes too. Where
is it dumb?
Well, it was in my notes where and in fact, I think me and you talked about this earlier, where it's like Sailor Moon often disconcerts itself with the secret identity thing.
Right.
But then the end of this episode has an allusion to that being a part of this narrative.
Every episode.
And I said to you, I was like, we're getting. In fact, I said in the last episode, as we get to the 13, the 26, the blah 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 mark, right? You need to build up to that, and because we have the introduction of these new sailors, right? Reed, you agree with me?
Here what I want to say.
That's what the illusion.
What I want to touch on that is this season.
ALLUSION illusion.
This season, what I'm seeing is we in the prior season the will they won't they thing was will Chibiusa realize that her friends are the sailors. And it's like every episode we think this is the episode's going to happen and it doesn't. This season it's like will the outer planet sailors realize that any means necessary and casualties is not good. And every episode, I think, they've actually learned it. And this episode, we get close to her being like, I guess Sailor Moon says I shouldn't have casualties. And it's going to be the whole season of will they, won't they?
But they don't
change their opinion.
Did I introduce that outer planet sailors phrase?
No,
because I came to it naturally.
I was really impressed by that. Actually,
I thought I invented it. It was intuitive to me. But the way to describe the outer planet sailors.
Before we recorded our first episode today, Reed was using the term outer planet.
That's crazy. That's parallel thinking. Because I really don't think that I.
It's a very clear way to distinguish.
Well,
not to have too much meta commentary on film, but there are these outer sailors.
Because I'd rather just you can just call them the dyke ones.
Lol.
It's a throwback.
It's a throwback to last episode where I got a little bit problematic, but yeah, the outer sailors. They do pose an opposition because our inner sailors are naive to their moon princess destiny, and the outer sailors are just kind of explicitly in their there is this thing where Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto do have an awareness of their moon princess destiny
they're not from Earth. They're not classically.
They're not from Earth. They know their moon princess destiny in the way that the Earth girls don't.
But we've already seen Pluto as the guardian of the gate. So Pluto's definitely a.
How do they have this?
Well, technically, Luna is sort of Sailor Pluto.
How do they have this awareness? How do they have this awareness?
Why would it be Luna P?
Luna Pluto
doesn't have a relationship.
I think Luna P is just a robot ball with a hologram.
Of course, all sailors are similar in the sense like Serena was awakened to her.
Serena being Usagi.
Usagi was awakened to her Moon Princess destiny at some point by her familiar.
Well, and by virtue of just the season-ending narratives.
But
she really is aware.
But the outer princesses are more aware. They're like, are they not?
But the thing is, we don't know as an audience like what the outer princesses like, where they come from.
No, indeed,
it's implicit that
they come from Neo-Tokyo.
But we don't know that for sure, though.
But that's what I'm saying is there's this obscurity, but there seems to be more of a familiarity with Neo-Tokyo, with the outer princesses.
Well, and we've established like kind of like future predilection. It's evident. Reed, get your hands out of your goddamn face.
Agreed.
What do you think? What do you think? Because like I actually don't know.
What do I think of?
Like Neptune and Uranus. Like what are
like what do they know?
I think they know everything. I think they're fully.
They talk about the silence. They talk about the upcoming silence, and they
that was which we talked about. That was Mercury's vision.
How could they?
Vision in the first episode.
No, Mars's vision.
Oh, you're correct, Mars, because she has she's in tune with.
No.
How could they be on the good side?
They are on the good side.
They're on a different kind of good though, and that's what they're dealing with. The thing is, what I take issue with, and we talked about this consistency last review. But I think I take issue actually with the fact that they clearly are dealing with the moral conundrum of the fact that they need to find these people with a talisman and that they might need to kill them to take the talisman out of them to solve the whole grail.
But they can only come at them at the right point.
Right. But the thing is, no, let me finish. Let me finish my thought. Hold your thought, please. I want to hear what you have to say. But what I take issue with is it's like none of these people have the talisman. So there's no stakes with them having to kill these people because every single person comes up, they go.
But they don't know that they don't have the talisman.
They do because every single time they're around and they see it and they go, okay, I guess we're good. We can put it back in. You know. So we haven't had to deal with the moral conundrum, but we've seen particularly Neptune take a liking to it. There was one conversation I think 3 episodes ago where they were like, maybe these girls are onto something, but like. It was still nothing. My
opinion on that is I believe that their mission and the whole thing with the talisman, I believe, is intentionally untrue.
It's a
they're being tested, and that their mission has been sent by Sailor, Princess Neo Serenity, or Prince Endymion from Neo-Tokyo, and their true mission is to realize that means don't always justify the end. Right. And they must realize that it doesn't matter if it's a talisman. We must find another way that benefits everyone and harms no one.
Wow.
So I think that's going to be the true lesson is that they must learn. It doesn't matter if it's a talisman. We can't. That's not our goal. Our goal is to prevent this in a different method.
Wouldn't it be fun if the narrative of this season would be the future, like Usagi, aka Serenity. And Endymion, aka Future Tuxedo Mask, and their kind of a matriarch, patriarch status, like pushing these future sailors back into the past. The past Usagi, future Neo-Tokyo, Serenity, whatever, like they had to battle with their future selves to create a different future, and they were fighting against themselves. So wouldn't that be fun?
I'm not sure.
That's some Marvel comic shit.
We could try to trace those threads.
There's evidence that that's possible.
But
because we look at the Black Lady Chibiusa story, and there's evidence that's a possible through thread. We look at the convolution of the lore that's been established, given the fact that this entire story is predicated, really, like the entire Sailor Moon narrative is predicated on the future pushing at the past.
Wow.
You know?
Yes.
It's true. And I think this story that we're looking at on a grand scale is so fucking stupid that that's possible. It's like a man versus self, you know? Could be a man versus self narrative, but literally. What do you think, Reed?
I suppose. So.
I don't think that's what's going to happen.
I don't even know if I'm right about this.
Because we have a sub-villain in
the talisman thing's dumb.
Yeah, the talisman.
I personally don't believe
because
it.
it's gone. What are we on, episode 9? They haven't even found. They've established that there's 3.
The reason why we haven't
they've done the number.
Yeah.
Like there's 3 of them. We haven't seen one.
The reason we haven't found a talisman yet is it's too early, and they can't be killing a person yet. You need to reach that risk of do I or do I not kill a person later on in the season. It's too early to have that.
But I think
that choice being made.
I'm down with like a comfy we hang out and we get to know like Haruka and what is it? What's Neptune's real name again?
Michiru.
Michiru. Like we get to know them more, establish them as real characters.
I mean, they've been pretty established. I think.
But keep it up. Like I'm down for like a 52 episodes of
that.
I am down. But if they keep telling me that one's not the talisman, that one's not the talisman, they've established that there's 3.
My biggest issue.
Something. Of course, they're going to do something eventually. But like, how are they going to do it?
My biggest issue with this episode is the one thing that's not resolved is the bikers who were just so willing to beat up a woman with wrenches.
Yeah,
and then one of them is
never,
pure of heart.
She never re-raced them. She never proved, like, nothing she had to prove, but there was no conclusion to that of them learning a lesson. It was just, they were just gonna beat her up with wrenches. And
they got sacrificed.
And they never learned a lesson. They never were like, I guess maybe we should change our ways of thinking. They just go on, and the racing circuit.
It was like
motocross specifically is just going to be misogynistic.
And it was kind of supposed to be like a Uranus episode, but it was like really it was a Usagi episode.
Well, maybe
I disagree.
Maybe
that's not a Usagi episode. It was an episode of the last episode and this episode are 2 episodes of the Outer Planet sailors working together because they haven't actively worked together. They've worked separately for the same goal.
Okay.
They were both in these last 2 episodes actively working.
Did you think it was weird that there was like an interruption to what I figured was established? Like we're gonna do the pure of heart thing, and we did Jupiter and Nami back to back, and then this episode,
no Mars,
no pure of heart. No, not Mars, not Venus. Usagi is obviously like the golden calf. Like that's not gonna happen.
I guess maybe they're trying to input this one in the next one, maybe, or maybe they just won't. Who knows?
If you've read the Bible, me calling Usagi a golden calf is an insult.
But like, you're saying that they forgave
the false prophet that they worship, and then they don't.
Yeah,
because they're false gods.
Moses' brother, after Moses is gone for a while,
idolatry.
He sort of stood in front of it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
But yeah, perhaps their morals, unfortunately, sometimes their morals can forgive bastards. So you could say, oh, the man who they forgave and took the pure heart from didn't deserve it. But perhaps people are infinitely worthy of forgiveness.
I think that could have been an interesting concept if had it really been a talisman, if they were a complex, an issue of whether or not this person deserves to live because of his.
Sure, it would have been. It would have been better to.
That would have been an interesting plot point.
It would have been better
and to forgive.
But that's what we're doing in this after commentary is, expanding the shit that is
like that
expanded on the page.
Discussing Fortnite lore, sitting on the couch with 3 kids.
Night.
Thanks for watching.